So we'll resume the session with our next speaker. So I would like to warmly invite Galit Wellner. So let me give her a short introduction. She's an assistant professor at Holon Institute of Technology and an adjunct professor at Tel Aviv University. Galit studied digital technologies and their interrelations with humans. She's an active member of Photophenomenology community and has published numerous articles, book chapters, and books on human-technology relations. Her research on AI and fairness led to her appointment as an academic advisor of AI Regulations Forum of the Israeli Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, and a PI at ENSURE-6G Horizon project. Before that, she served as a member of the stakeholder board of Sherpa and EU Horizon project for the shaping of ethical dimensions of smart information systems in 2021, from 2020 to 2021. In past, Galit was the vice chair of the Israeli UNESCO Information for All program and a board member of FTTH Council Europe. Over to you, Galit.
No, it's the wrong screen to just stop share. Stop the share. Play it and I'll share it. First you have to play it and then you share it. No. Where's the no.
Let's share the entire screen.
Yeah, maybe the entire screen. Play. Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here in Sri Lanka. It's my first time. Thanks a lot for organizing this and for hosting us in this beautiful university. I'd like to take this talk from where our friend Gurkan left with the societal challenges. And I would like to talk about privacy as something that requires more than the legal consent or the security aspects that are interesting for mostly engineering people. But before that, I'd like to explain how I came to this. Originally, in my background, I started my career as a computer programmer. Then I went to law school and I became an intellectual property lawyer. And then I went to academia, to the high-tech industry. I worked as a senior director of strategic marketing for one of Israel's largest corporates in the telecommunications industry. This is where I became a board member at the FTTH Council Europe. And then I went back to academia and became a philosopher of technology. My first book was about cell phones, obviously. Today, I just show a few of my current projects. Of course, ENSURE-6G. I'm also a management member of a cost action named Embark for the conservation of digital art. And also I have a project with the Israeli Olympic Committee. I built a small lab consisting of artificial agents to simulate why girls are dropping from Olympic Games. So as you can see, my research is diverse, and I'm trying to think of what technologies like AI can do for us and can help us. I'd like to present here the work that I've been doing with Dr. Vivek Nallur from UCD, Dr. Hagit Meishartal from HIT, and Dr. Raslin Kaur, who was my postdoc back then. And now she finally got a position in India. And in our work, we were trying to start with the 3 use cases that we've been discussing in our project, the healthcare, the IoT, and the telco traffic, and how AI is integrated into them. And we were trying to think about them ethically. So the first framework that we came up with was FACT, Fairness, Accountability, and Transparency. And some of the papers here, especially those that discussed explainability, also touched upon the topic of transparency. But then we realized that this framework, although very common with ACM, is quite limiting us because it doesn't cover issues that are super important ethically, like our human autonomy. What does it mean to be autonomous? Our well-being. What does it mean to be happy in the presence of these systems? What does it mean to live in a democratic society? And what does it mean for safety? So the ethical problems, of course, problem number one would be privacy, but no less is the problem of discrimination, of bias, usually discussed under the fairness headline, but also the nudges that hamper human autonomy, the surveillance, and the infringements of security. When we think about privacy, usually there are two strategies to deal with it. The first one is the legal one, GDPR. The goal is just to make sure that we don't classify people according to all kinds of stereotypes, and we have to restrain the developers. This is what the GDPR is mostly doing. From the engineering challenge, we are thinking of how to limit the access and what are we going to do when there are cyber attacks. And our goal is mainly to prevent unauthorized access. That's our goal number one. Usually we do that, let's say, with encryption. That's a very good solution for it. But the problem is with these two paradigms is that they think of the network as something that functions properly, and when it functions just okay. And our problem is that even when it comes to 6G networks, even when they function okay, still we have problems with privacy and with surveillance. So let me skip this one. So there is this assumption in both cases that something would happen, something that we didn't expect, something that will kind of a breach, a security failure, something that is not in the normal running of the network. But the problem is when we inject so much AI, so much remote sensing, surveillance is the rule rather than the exception. It's a functional feature. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So the violation of privacy is something that is the normal way these systems behave. They do that because we have the AI inference at the edges. So it's so difficult to spot it, to monitor it. The micro-localization is also problematic with the physical tracking, very high resolution, let's say, of our location, to take one of the simplest example, and the continuous sensing. Now, there's no point to opt out because otherwise the network doesn't function as we wish. We need to think of other ways to make it function. So if we are thinking of 4G and 5G as separate platforms, sensors that are kind of limited, that there is some kind of protection for the privacy, with 6G, with the frictionless flow, then this cross-platform integration means that data is being integrated, and then non-participation is just useless or even impossible. Normally, privacy is being discussed as three alternative frameworks. The first one is privacy is control. This is what the GDPR is trying to do. When you click, yes, I agree, please track me, please collect the cookies or whatever, it's as if we manage the information that we give. as if, right? But with 6G, there's no point in asking me, because whatever my wherever my devices are sensing, it goes into the network. The second framework is privacy as access, just a matter of access to information, to whom I allow access to the specific information. But when we come to the edges, then access is decentralized. So I can't really control who can access it. And the last framework that I'd like to discuss, the contextual integrity, means that there are all kinds of contexts to the information. And these contexts are kept separate, all of them. And once they are kept separate, I can control them in a much better way. But if the data is being integrated, there are no contextual boundaries anymore. Okay, just think of taking your health information when it comes to your bank account. Okay, if it's the same network, everything is being collected into the same data lake, then we don't have these contextual integrity in place. So how to deal with it? We are working with Daniel Solov's taxonomy, and we are trying to implement it in 6G networks. And his taxonomy says the problems of privacy can be mapped into 4 kind of steps or incidents. The first one is the one of collection. The second one is for processing, then the dissemination, and the fourth one is of invasion. And I will explain a bit more on each of them. The collection one means that as if I can choose which of my data is going to be collected. But with continuous personalization, it means that more and more of my data is being collected, and it is explained that it's for my own benefit. It's good for me. So I would like to give as much data as possible to get better personalization. As a result, this surveillance by the system operators, by certain apps, becomes something that is much needed. And I can't opt out. Otherwise, the network wouldn't work for me. It happens also in the world of the internet. It's not really unique for 6G, but I think that the integration of AI puts us into the next level. The second element of Solov's taxonomy is about the processing itself. And as you can see here in the drawing, we take all this raw data, we put it in this data lake, AI on the edges. And as a result, what we get is all kinds of profiles that are being produced. And we are being profiled, and we have no idea how we are categorized. I remind you that according to the GDPR, those who collect our data, they should provide us with the raw data, but not with the algorithmic processing, the algorithmic results of these of that data. So as a matter of fact, we are subject to this algorithmic labeling, but we don't know how we are labeled. Okay, we can't even correct it. I don't know whether the system rightfully classifies me as a woman or a man, or as according to my let's say ability to spend money. I just have this funny example. Whenever I go to campus, when I return home, my cell phone shows me all kinds of advertisements. Why don't you become a student at college, this and that? Maybe you take a student loan, because I'm enough time at the campus, and the system stupidly thinks that I'm a student, but I'm not. Okay, so this is something that I can see and understand, but there are some classifications that I can't see that clearly. The third one is of the distribution. And here the ultra low latency requirements means that the data is being shared pretty rapidly. And the data leaps between operators, clouds, third-party providers. It jumps within seconds and even milliseconds. And so we lose the original context of the data that is collected. It's a systemic insecurity. It's impossible to enforce the security aspects. And the fourth element is the one of invasion. And here the shift is from a network that is relatively passive to something that is more agentic, something that intervenes. And here what we are especially concerned when it comes to democracy, and that's why fact was not enough for us. Think of a network functioning in a country where there are lots of demonstrations. In Israel, in the last 3 years, we had lots of demonstrations against the government. And I'm trying to think of a situation that the network knows that I'm opposing the government. And I'm getting all these alerts saying there are no buses and no trains today due to the weather. There are. But I get the wrong messages just to convince me not to go out and demonstrate. Because the networks knows who I am, the networks knows where I'm about to go. It has a predictive ability. Okay, so with this, we are really, really concerned about this threat to our autonomy just because of this convenience or optimization. And because we don't have the silos anymore, everything is getting into the data lake. This scenario, I find it scary. So we would like to think of 6G networks, and we think this is the right moment to start thinking about these networks. We would like to think about the architectural responsibility. Excuse me for the big words. Yes, but it is our responsibility to do something now, and not to remain with the consent and the security that are already in place. They do a good job, but we need something that would be more complete, something that would ensure that we retain our well-being, our autonomy, and our democracy. So I'd like to thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of this workshop and amazing Sri Lanka. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wade. Thank you,